Hey everyone, welcome to the Tradies Success Podcast. We're here with Hacia Atherton from the Empowered Women in Trades and Camila Bernal from Camila The Caulker. Check her out on Instagram. We're actually here with take two. For some reason, our first recording broke halfway through our chat and we were on fire. So we're back and we're going to make it even better. So thanks for joining us again today.
Couldn't think
Ladies.
of a better place to join twice.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah. It was a great, that's okay. No, it was a great conversation. We can't wait to get into learning about how women can really be empowered in the trade space, how they can start an apprenticeship, how they can get into business and really take advantage of some really great opportunities in the trade and construction industry at the moment. So I'd love to hand over to you, Hacia, about your involvement and how you got into Empowered Women in Trades.
Yeah. So I actually come from a fifth generation plumbing family. So my great-great-grandfather was one of the founding contractors of the Master Plumbers, and there's been 4 generations of male Athertons as presidents of the Master Plumbers. But I guess because of my own unconscious bias, the unconscious bias of my family, and I guess the societal view of women in trades, I'm an accountant, not a plumber. And I have grown up in the family business, but working marketing, sales, reception work, all of those, I guess, perceived stereotype feminine style of roles. And I'd finished all of my accounting qualifications and Dad said, right, now go onto the factory floor and learn the trade side of the business. Our family company now manufactures medical infection control equipment, so welders, fitter and turners, electricians, and I've grown up around these guys. Since I could walk, I've been walking around the factory, but as soon as I put those steel cap boots on, that high vis, and walked into the factory, I just crumbled. I was like, I don't belong here. I'm a girl. I can't do this. I can't weld. I can't. And it was an amazing experience to be surrounded by the tradesmen that pulled me up, and it's like, it has nothing to do with your gender. This is the first time you've picked up a welder, or it's the first time that you've been using a CNC machine and all that kind of stuff. So they managed to build up my confidence, and after a while I was like, loved walking into the factory with so much confidence. But I started to reach out to other women in the industry to see if this was a common mindset. And it really was. A lot of women came back and said, yeah, especially during my apprenticeship, which is all about stuffing up and learning, they would often blame their gender. But unfortunately, that was an external thing as well. Through the work side or employers or TAFE, teachers would amplify that, saying, oh, see, you stuffed up because you're a girl, or see, girls don't belong in the trade, or see, you're not strong enough to do this. And then I thought that was very interesting and clearly outlined that something needed to be done. And then I started speaking to women outside of the industry, and so many of them were like, I would have no idea how to get into the industry. I would have no idea what kind of qualifications I'd have to do, what job opportunities there. No one would employ me because I'm a woman. Or some women had tried to enter the industry and they said, I put in an application to 20 different carpentry companies that were advertising for apprentices, and they all said no to me as well. So I really saw that there was this barrier, there was this breakdown to be able to connect women into the industry, create awareness, and allow them to discover the right career pathways for them, because they just didn't understand the industry. And then for the women in the industry, there needed to be some kind of support network, that peer mentoring, as well as that level of education for employers taking on females to understand how to slightly expand their environments. I don't like to say change, because there's nothing necessarily wrong. It's a lack of understanding and awareness. So they need to expand their environments and expand their culture and grow it to include things like sanitary bins in the toilets, sanitary items in the first aid kits, and just increase that mindset of, now I've got a co-ed or a larger diverse workforce. What do I need to create to make this environment supportive so everyone can thrive? And that's where Empowered Women in Trades was really born, to work on the attraction piece, to create an environment where women can be vulnerable and explore the industry in a really safe and supportive environment. And then the retention piece. What do we have to do to expand the culture out there on site? What do we need to do to support employers, which are 99% male at the moment, to be able to take on a female into their environment, support the men going through that journey of now all of a sudden working alongside a female, and then also how do we support those females into leadership positions within the industry as well. And that's where it comes into connection with working with incredible ambassadors like Camila, because she's out there doing it and showing women that they can do it and changing that I can't to I can. And she does it every single day.
Yeah, love that. And I can't wait to jump in and chat to Camila in a second. But just on that really important point that you just said, which was around employers don't really know what that means to hire a woman, and I think that's maybe why these women were putting the applications out for an apprenticeship and not getting any response or not getting successful because the employers are uneducated. Yeah. So maybe what would you suggest some employers could do, since we're talking about this right now, to get more educated in how to equip themselves for employing women, so when that application comes across their desk next time, they can take it on and say, we can do this. I know what this means for us.
My recommendation is the first step is always sit down and have a chat with your team. So have a chat with the guys on site, say, look, we do want to look at creating some diversity in our workforce. How do you guys feel about that? And really put all of the discomforts and fear on the table for the guys. And some of that might be from, I don't know how comfortable I would feel driving around with a 16-year-old female next to me because I'm a 45-year-old guy and like if I'll say the wrong thing or, is there going to be issues there? So first step is always flush out any of the discomforts and fears with your team. That's something we can also do and guide that conversation. So there is people out there that you can come and do a professional development lunch, guide that conversation, and then start addressing those fears with the guys and working out what education you need. So whether that is how to have productive conversations with other genders, whether that's looking at finding a female supplier for your uniforms that you have so she's not in just size small guy stuff, which is still epically big for her. It's starting to understand, again, what is your facilities looking like? Do I need to create a change room space for her if it's a trade that you've got to change on site? Do I need to look at putting in a sanitary bin? And you don't have to go all fancy, like just a bin from Kmart is absolutely fine. Do I need to go get some sanitary items in the first aid kit? And ask those questions with the female. Like, we're not going to be offended if you're like, I don't know exactly what I have to do to make this environment supportive for you. Can you co-design this environment for me? What do I need to do to make this supportive? And really make that collaborative conversation. Be curious. Don't be ashamed or scared to ask questions. It's better to ask a question than assume you know what a woman wants. In relationships and also in business.
That's the problem with most. I was going to say that's like 90% of the problem all the time is that we try and fix something because we think we know, but we don't ask what the actual problem is.
Yeah, we love that guys want to fix stuff. Assuming you know how to fix stuff, just ask the question. Just get curious. Get really curious and explore what needs to be done.
So let's just say an employer is ready to take someone on. And then I think it's a perfect segue into meeting you, Camila, and how you got into the trade space, started working on site alongside, male-dominated industry. So I'd love to hear your story and how you got into caulking.
It was a very unexpected thing for me. It was not something that I was really planning on doing it. I was in Australia as an international student because I'm from Colombia. So I was in Australia learning English and I was working in hospitality by then. We have a lot of restrictions with our visa, so it was not very easy just to find a job. So I found this job in a Mexican restaurant. I was rolling burritos, making nachos, and it was like really fun. but money was not very good. The timing and hospitality industry is a pretty hard industry, and I had a friend that was doing caulking, and one day he just said to me, "Do you want to learn?" And I was like, "What's that?" I didn't even know what caulking was. The construction industry in Colombia is very different. It was very unfamiliar for me, but I had a lot to learn. And I was like, this is actually pretty good for me. It was Monday to Friday, 7 to 3, weekends off, and it was more money. It was something new, challenging, different, out of my comfort zone. But that's what I was doing in this country. I left home to live my experience. So I was like, yes, everything, yes. I was in the mindset of, I want to try new things and why not? So I got into trades. I joined the construction industry and I loved it. So my background is I'm a professional graphic designer. So I studied 5 years in the university back in Colombia. And when I finished uni, I came here. And I really love caulking because I'm the last trade, so it's the last finish of the job, and it's a very artistic trade, which I really love it. I found a very big passion for it, so everything was really good for me. That's how I started. I fall in love with the trade, and yes, it's been almost 8 years doing it.
Amazing. Congratulations on pushing through all of that adversity, not really understanding the industry even when you got into it. And then with the language barrier and all of that, how was that for you? Like when you're going on site, obviously English being a second language, and coming into the Australian trade language, tradie slang. So there would have been a lot of words that you've never that you've never heard before.
Yes, it was very challenging for me, the language barrier, because I was here learning English. Like I learned English back home, but it was just at school. My teachers were Colombian people just teaching English. So I was like, yes, I know English. No, I didn't know. And I always say I knew English, but I had to learn how to speak Aussie. And I was talking to tradies, which was like even harder. It was very hard, very challenging. Especially when I had to follow instructions in the job site. When the site manager come to me and say, "Hey, Camila, can you please do this? Can you call this?" And I'm like, I don't even know what he's saying. I had so much new vocabulary to learn. So it was very challenging because, and I understand there were some people that get really frustrated because they had to repeat themselves, or because I didn't do the right things, or I missed something, but it was all language related. And there were people that rather dealing with other traits than me because they couldn't handle it. But at the same time, I have very supportive people as well, because they were like, okay, we just explain her what I'm trying to say. So I have this thing, but it was challenging. Yes, 100% was challenging, but that's what I was here for. I didn't take it personal, and it was just part of the experience that I was living. Like when I made the decision to travel to the other side of the planet, to a country that English was my second language, I knew that all of this was part of that. So I just embraced it, I learned it, and yes, I made it.
Yes, you did. Hey, what were some of the funniest words you had to learn on site? I'm just curious around what are some of the words you're like, what is that?
Oh, God.
What are some of the words that they used to say on site?
No, I think that everything, the one that I remember, the first one that I was like, what the hell is that? Is like, you want to go to Smoko? And I'm like, what is this?
You want to go to Smoko?
I'm like, I don't understand what's that. Just those tiny little things, you know.
Do I have to smoke a cigarette?
Smoke. Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, and you're walking around site. Have you seen Smoko? Where's Smoko?
Yeah, where's Smoko? Where's the local place?
So then you've your Instagram has exploded. I think a lot of people can learn whether you're just a tradesperson working for someone or you're in business, how to really nurture your Instagram like you do. It's created a lot of exposure for you. It's led to you being able to start your own business. So I'd love for you to speak a little bit about how you started using Instagram and maybe some Instagram tips for people that might be looking at getting more exposure and being found out on Instagram.
Yeah, look, my Instagram is everything to me now. It didn't start with that purpose, but that account completely changed my life and got me to where I am today. So I opened my Instagram account in 2020, I think 2021, and it was just a platform that I wanted to use for myself as a portfolio of the jobs that I was doing. I was unemployed by then. I was doing these stunning houses, and it was just me. I was like, I want in 20, 30 years to be able to show my kids what mama was doing when she was young, how, like, because in Colombia we are not tradies, and I'm like, I just want to have an evidence, a memory of what I'm doing. That's how it just started. So it was a private account where I was just posting photos of all these beautiful jobs that I was doing with no purpose. I didn't tell anyone about this account. But anyway, after the pandemic happened and a lot of things in my life changed, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make this public. And I'm just going to keep posting my jobs. It was nothing to do with Camila. I never post a photo of myself. Like, if you actually go to my Instagram, to my first post, I think that the first 80 photos are just jobs. And then I have a conversation. I met someone and he said to me, show your face, show who you are, because there's a lot of people that are going to fall in love with your job, but also of Camila, of who you are, what you have to offer, you as a person. And then I was like, I don't know, like, I was very shy, my self-esteem, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to take photos of myself. And he said to me, just do it, as long as you feel comfortable, but show the world who's behind this account. And then I was like, yeah, okay. So then I changed the name of the Instagram and I changed it to Camila The Caulker, because that's how people used to know me in the job site. Who's that girl? Camila. Who's Camila? Camila The Caulker. So I didn't think about it. Just put Camila The Caulker, start posting the jobs, and slowly, very, very shy, a selfie here, a selfie there. And then I started receiving so much love from that account. I started having so many followers. Like, that account started growing crazy. And it was very interesting because all my followers were all construction related here in Australia, all the builders, electricians, plumbers, carpenters. So I was like, oh, this is actually like a really good platform and how I'm engaging with the industry. So yes, like, slowly I start getting a lot of followers, as I said before, and all the followers comes with work, right? And then I had one people here saying, oh, I have one little job, can you do a bathroom? And then I have a builder, and I started getting really busy. But because I was working full-time for this company, I could only do the jobs in the afternoons or on the weekends. So I was working so much, and the Instagram kept growing. I kept having so many jobs. And then one day I decided that it was time for me to create my own company, to give it a go. So yes, I talked to my boss and I say, thank you so much for everything, but see you later. Camila The Caulker has born, and I'm ready for what this...
Mic drop. Page left.
And yes.
Yeah, mic drop.
Yeah.
What comes up next?
So that's how Camila The Caulker was born. Like, officially, I announced in my socials that I was just going to do it. That was my company, and so much work has come from that. And yes, I think that I couldn't have done this without my Instagram, that initially was without purpose, but it led me to this, and it's been amazing. I don't know what it will be my life without Instagram, because I don't advertise on Google or anything. It's just there, and it's such a beautiful platform because it's how we support each other, how all trades. So when you go to a job site, you use your platform to support the electrician, the painter, the builders, and we promote each other, and it's great. Like it's an amazing platform from everyone involved in the jobs.
Amazing. Well, congratulations starting your own business. And
Thank
what
you.
was that like going out and then you didn't have an employer anymore and you're like, oh, I've got to learn everything about business now. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was really scary. It was very uncomfortable, but very exciting. Like I was so scared, but I was so incredibly happy. And like the freedom that I had, and it was just that challenge, that personal challenge that I'm like, I can do this, I can do it. And I think that for me, it was very hard because I don't have anyone here in Australia with me. Like all my family is back home, and I have my friends, but that's it. That's all I have. So I didn't really have someone next to me saying, look, this is how you run a business. When you start a business, you need to do A, B, and C. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So my Instagram for me was an amazing platform because, believe it or not, the community that we have there, it's amazing. So when I announced to the public, to my followers, to everyone that I was going to have this company, I have so much support from my followers, which are also business owners, and they start sending messages to me saying, hey, look, make sure that, I don't know, just little things like to have a PO box so you don't have to give your home address because it's not safe. Remember just to have these insurances, the accounting platform use this and this. If you have any question, let me know. So it was really, really beautiful because I thought that I didn't have anyone, and I kind of didn't, but I did. I have so many people wanting to support me, and yes, it was great. With all these people support, I slowly start getting there, making so many mistakes, but that's the only way that you learn. I give it a go, and I was like, oops, this is not the way of doing it. Then I'm going to do here, asking questions to one person, to another one, and just start educating myself. And yeah, that's how I've been doing it. It's still learning a lot of things, but that's the process. I think that you never stop learning. But it's been great. I have had an amazing support, and yes, I think that we will never stop learning and making mistakes and doing the right and the wrong things, meeting the good people, the not so good people, and yeah.
Amazing. And such an inspiration to women starting a trade business, and we've had quite a few come through the academy, and we've got a few in there at the moment. And it's so great to, see that you're able to reach out, get the support from the wider community, and to think that when you start your trade and you feel like so small, and you feel like everything that you do wrong is maybe because you're a woman, like you were saying at the start, to getting to this place where you're asking questions publicly and everyone's surrounding you with support. So it's a really cool place. And I was joking the first time around, if your name was Chris the Caulker, you probably wouldn't have got the same responses from everyone. It's like, hey, Chris, let me help you do anything you want. So there's a huge opportunity for women to get out there and be supported by people in the trade space for sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's really important to be able to ask questions. Like, I'm not afraid of asking questions, not even in my Instagram. When I'm frustrated, when I have an issue, when I have a problem with a client, when I have, I don't know, the silliest questions, I ask them. And people just answer with so much support and respect. Like, I don't need to pretend to know, to say that I know everything, because I do not. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know anything.
So the funniest thing is when she answers her own questions. So I'm helping her learn her bookkeeping and everything, and she like screen records questions to me. And the other day she was sending me a question, and then she's like, I click here and then I don't know where to go. Oh, maybe I go here and then, oh, look, and then I go. And there was this video of her like answering her own questions. She was trying to ask me a question, but she answered her own question.
And you sent it anyway.
Which I think is fantastic. And that's the power of, if you start that inquisitive mindset, you can often answer the questions yourself.
Yeah, no, it's so good. So Hacia, you're on a mission. You're on a mission to get 30% representation of women in trades by 2030. So I'd love to have a conversation around how are we going to achieve that? What are things that need to happen, whether that's a mindset shift from the schools, from the business owners, from the apprentices, or the other co-workers? What are some of the things that we have to do to make this a reality, do you think, as an industry?
Yeah, there's a huge amount of mindset shift that needs to happen in the school system, which is already starting to happen. We work very closely with the Department of Education to start bringing trades, experiences and education into the schools. But even before secondary school, we need to start having those conversations in primary school as well. There's definitely a lot of education that needs to be done with career counsellors. So if you're a tradie out there that does have a kid at school, I highly recommend just trying to have a quick chat with the career counsellor to expand their awareness of the different trades out there. Most career counsellors I speak to don't know about fitter and turners or boilermakers or some of those welding careers. They wouldn't know about caulking, for example. So if you do have the opportunity to connect with your kids' school, have those conversations, expand the awareness around that in the education system as well. Talk to other parents and start shifting the mindset of parents as well, of understanding that the trade industry has changed, that there is fantastic opportunities with work-life balance, with financial independence and freedom. So if you're at a parents' event, have that chat with other parents, because that's a big thing we see. We get a female student really excited and then the parents shut it down. They're like, there's no way I'm letting my daughter go and be a carpentry apprentice, and then they shut it down. So that shift in that community of parents need to definitely change. And then looking outside of the education system and outside of the school system, it's creating that experience as well to allow women to understand a career and an industry that they haven't been exposed to. So give a woman a crack. Let her have a work trial or work experience for a day or a couple of days, and be a bit patient and understand that women haven't been brought up with going to dad on site and grabbing impact driver and all those kind of things. So yes, you do have to have that little bit of patience to be able to talk through these things, because they haven't grown up in these space or these industries as well. And then looking at around really showcasing the opportunities of the industry. So even if you don't have a female, but you do know female carpenters out there, you know, ask her if she's happy to come and have a chat on your social media, do a collaboration with her and saying, you know, let's talk about the industry as a whole, or just start to showcase women in your industry, both internally, so the guys on site can be a bit more exposed to tradeswomen out there, and then also women looking for employment go, okay, well this company is clearly showcasing women. They've got women on their website or they've got women on their social media. I know that this is a place that I can apply to. Because if a woman comes to your website or your social media and it's just all guys, they're going to be quite deterred to apply for the roles as well. So it's that visual thing of showing that there is women in your environment. And as I said, if there isn't, find ways to collaborate, saying, you know, we can come and do an event with you and invite some women into the space, get some photos of that, put that on social media. Start to think of innovative ways to show that you have a diverse and supportive environment. And then it's that final piece of really starting to shift that culture and that mindset on how we connect and how we create mateship in the workplace as well. So when it's a really male-dominated environment, there can be quite an aggressive undertone in how men tend to connect through that competitive nature, through a little bit more of aggression, through that kind of high level of masculine ways, which is fantastic. And some of those mateships are great, but some of those mateships built on that kind of toxic masculinity of, we don't talk about our emotions, we're tough, all that kind of stuff, is not healthy for men either. So really start to look at how you can bring emotional intelligence into your workplace, how you can bring positive psychology, for example, and create a culture where there's some more gratitude, where you do have check-in chats, like in your toolboxes, have a how's things going kind of thing. Start to create that environment where there is more emotional intelligence to be able to create support for all human beings, but particularly for the women to be able to talk up and saying, yeah, I do feel uncomfortable because X, Y, and Z, or for the men to say, I do feel uncomfortable being in the truck with a 16-year-old female by my side because I'm not quite sure what to say, or if things are going to be taken the wrong way, or am I going to get in trouble, or all this different stuff. So in your workplaces, really create high levels of psychological safety to have meaningful conversations, talk about your discomforts, talk about your fears, and then work out really proactive solutions to address those fears and discomfort for the men and for the women.
Oh, I absolutely love everything you just said, especially around that, creating a safe place for people at work, men or women, it doesn't matter. Some of the highest functioning companies, and we really push this at the Academy as well, are companies that do open up and share what's hard and what they're struggling with, because then you fix the actual problem. And it's about asking and inquiring, like you said earlier. It's about asking the question, not just, just toughen up, get it done, just do your job and, work harder, not smarter. There's definitely that in the industry. But the good news is I think it's starting to be phased out and pushed out, which is also really great. And it's a huge opportunity for the younger people that understand this. I feel like the younger companies at the moment really get this because they've grown up with it. So could we speak to that, Camila, maybe around how different it is just even from 10 years ago? Because I know when I was an apprentice 20 years ago or just over, I remember walking through my college electrical training where the TAFE was, and if there was a woman on the campus, you're like, what? Like double back. You're like, whoa, woman in training with us. It was just crazy. Or if you rocked up to site and there was a woman on site in fluoros, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? Like it was so rare. So I could just imagine how uncomfortable I feel. But the more women we get on site, the more women we get into colleges, the more comfortable everyone becomes, men and women, because I think you're right. Like sometimes it's just men don't know how to behave, or they don't know what this means because we're just not used to it. So Camila, how has it changed since 10 years ago for yourself on site?
I've seen a massive change in the industry from when I started to today. But it also has to be with how I feel with myself in being on site. So when I started, of course, 8 years ago, there was less females than there are today. And my position by then, it was really hard for everything that we just have said before. I didn't speak the language. I've never been in the industry. I was new in this country. My background being from Colombia and the stereotypes, everything was really hard for me. But I have built, so my biggest the biggest difference that I've seen is because I have built that character of myself. And a very important thing is that I stopped taking things personally. And when you build that confidence of yourself and saying, I'm here because I know what I'm doing, because I can do it. And the problem is like, I don't see myself different to a guy. Right? So when you stop thinking, oh, just I'm a female, and then what would you say? Oh, I'm doing this wrong, or they are upset because I'm a female. No, we are all exactly the same. When you change that mindset, I think that everything in the environment change. Because, for example, now that I'm so confident of myself, when I go to a job site, I I know what I'm doing. I talk to them with respect. They completely respect me, admire me, and it's a mutual thing. So,
and your body language,
and
like
the body
how
language.
you show up on site is with confidence and eye contact instead of like, oh, hi, I'm here to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Being like such a difference
Absolutely.
in how you present.
Absolutely. That's such a big, big thing. So when I go to the job site, it's like, okay, Camila The Caulker is here and I'm here to do my things and I know what I'm doing. So guys or anyone in the job is like, oh, okay, she's here. She knows what she's doing. We respect, we communicate. It's so important to communicate with other trades. Hey, this is what I'm doing today. Are you going to be here? Oh, can you please just don't work in this area today because I'm going to do it. So the environment is really, really good. I find a lot of support from guys. I absolutely work. I love working with guys. I think we do an amazing thing. And what I was saying before is that girls have things that guys don't, and guys have things that we do not have. We need each other. Like I feel that teams where guys and girls, like female and male, is we complement each other. So it's really, really good because there are things that I cannot do physically. There are things that a guy can do that I don't. So I'm so happy when a guy offered to help me. Do you want me to move this, carry things? Yes, absolutely. It's so heavy for me. Why I'm going to try to prove myself that I'm the female in the job site, that I don't need a man? No, absolutely. We do. We need each other. We work as a team. So yes, it's been a massive difference from when we were 10 years ago in the industry. As well, there's so many clients or builders that say to me all the time, we want females in the jobs. Can you recommend a plumber, an electrician, a brickie? Like I'm like, yes, a concreter. We have so many tradie ladies in the industry that we know that they are doing an amazing job. And yes, and I think that what's coming in the next years for the industry and the females is just amazing.
30%.
30%.
That's what's coming. 30% instead of 3%. And you're so right. There's also a massive
Let's do it.
Emerging
30%.
There's a huge emerging market of, for example, single women that don't necessarily feel comfortable being alone in their home with a male tradie, women that have experienced trauma or domestic violence that don't want to have a male tradie, and they're on the search for female tradies. So as a business owner, having a female apprentice or having a female tradie, you're actually opening up your market to potential industries and clients that you couldn't tap in before. For example, female gyms, I know they reach out to us a lot looking for female tradies because of their constitution, they can't have a male in there while the women are working out. So if there's an electrical problem, they have to close down the whole gym, not have any clients in there to bring in a male tradesperson to fix it and then open up the gym again. So if you are not having a female on your team, you could then send her off to that site. The gym doesn't have to close down. So there's so much opportunity happening in this space, which I think is so exciting. And similarly as well, like there is all male industries out there where they want a male tradie. So we've got these beautiful spaces as well where women can thrive, men can thrive, and the magic happens when you have that diversity in your team.
Yes, I 100% agree. And we, across the board, so I work with hundreds of trade business owners, and we all need more staff. There's just not enough people out there to hire at the moment. And there's a huge open market. So all the women listening to this, you've got such an awesome opportunity right now. So I'd like to squash some of the things and build the confidence for the women that might be considering it, because the fears that they are feeling might happen. And I think you spoke straight to it, Camila, which was, changing your attitude and knowing that it's actually not you, and it's not because you're a female. It's actually a lot of the time speaks more to the person who says the comments. And whether you're an apprentice coming on as a male or a female, there's going to be some attitude, there's going to be some rudeness, there's going to be that, because there's a lot of those sort of people out there. And just know that that's not you. And it's not because you're a female, it's because of that person, that, what they're going through, and because they've got low self-esteem, it makes them feel better to put you down. And that's, especially if you start getting better than them, that's another thing. If you start getting better, the people, the ego, the competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The better you get, the worse their behavior.
So know that you're just killing it. Yeah. So just you keep doing you, and you keep pushing on and getting better.
Exactly. And expanding on that and being really real for the women that are listening to that. Yes, there is cases of sexual harassment that do happen in the industry, but you're not alone. There's so much support out there. There's so many guys that will call that out on site if they see that happening. I know that, like, of some amazing builders that as soon as they hear that happening, they refuse to employ with that work with that subcontractor ever again. They kick them off site and different things like that. So you're not left out alone. Yes, you may experience something bad, but there's so much support in the industry to support you through that, to have counselling services if it is needed like that. And there's so many employers that will not put up with it and will take immediate action. So yes, you'll see that in the news, and it's media worthy and it can get hyped up, but I don't want women to feel scared and think, if I come on site, I'm going to get sexually harassed and it's really dangerous. It does happen. It happens in the corporate world too. It's just a fact of life, but there is so much support.
Happens everywhere.
She wants to say something.
Yes, I just want to talk about my personal experience, what you're saying before. We have, yes, it's a reality, but for example, in my personal experience, in Camila's story, it's been such a beautiful experience. Of course, I have had moments where I don't feel comfortable, or someone looks at me in a way that I don't feel comfortable or something, but I have never really been in a situation where I'm like, I'm in danger, or I want to go, or I want to cry, or this is so bad. Absolutely not. And the times that I haven't feel comfortable, I have said that, like, I'm not scared. But again, what we say before, during this year, I have built this character. Probably when I started, I was very shy, but I'm not shy anymore. Like, I'm not afraid of speaking up for myself and say how I feel. And I think that being a female, we are so protected. So when I was working in the commercial jobs and we have these inductions and stuff, they always say to us, like, if you have something to say, come to us. Say something. If you're not feeling safe, if you have any problem with any trade, come to us. And I'm like, we are actually very, very protected. And I had, not in like something critical, but if I was working with a guy that, I don't know, his presence or the way he looked or move around me was feeling uncomfortable, walk straight to the office and say, hey, I'm not feeling very comfortable. Straight away. They go change that, move the person. They really, really want to make sure that we are safe and that we feel happy where we are. Like, I feel very protected. Like, it's very opposite to a lot of people think. I think being a female in the industry is an advantage. I feel very, very safe, and I know that as soon as I speak, people are going to listen to us and make sure that we are in a safe environment.
Yeah. And I think if you're not experiencing that, like if you are a tradeswoman out there listening to that and you're not experiencing what Camila's experiencing, it's okay to walk away from your current employer or your current environment. If that's not how you feel, there is employers out there that will provide that safety and feeling for you. So if you're not getting that, it's okay to walk away.
Awesome. That's so good. So 2 things I'd love to cover before we wrap it up. What if female, aspiring female tradespeople need to know? What do they need to know to get into the trade?
From my point of view, it is physical. So if you're coming from like an administration background or doing a career change where you haven't been doing that much physical stuff, get fit. It's a lot of, it's a lot of movement. And those kind of first 6 months of building up that muscle memory and muscle strength is really, really tough. So get fit, get to the gym and support yourself that way as well. find your support network. So reach out, like, Camila, there's so many of them on Instagram. They're really amazing women that will provide you with advice, will provide you with support. So really build up your community of peer support. Potentially find a mentor as well in the industry, male or female, to navigate what an apprenticeship looks like, because you've got so many players there. You've got your MEGTs of the world that are doing your contract. You've got the TAFE that you're working with. You've got your employer, and they've all got different roles and responsibilities. And it can be really, really daunting. You don't often know who to go to if you're having some trouble at TAFE and all that kind of stuff. So try and find a mentor in the industry that can help you navigate what an apprenticeship looks like. And again, touching back to, and this is advice for anyone that's looking for a job, an employer and you, it is a relationship. And just like necessarily you might have fantastic first few dates with someone and then it goes pear-shaped after that, the employers, it's the same. And just because you may not be enjoying working with that particular employer doesn't mean that you won't enjoy the trade. So don't give up if your first employer isn't fantastic. Look for a different employer, reach out to your MEGTs or your TAFEs, or go and find job boards and everything like that. Just don't give up. Keep giving it a crack. If you really have that passion and you connect to the trade and you enjoy it, don't let one bad employer turn you off from the industry or one bad experience on the site. Build up that support, keep having a crack, and getting curious before you commit to that trade. So as I said before, go have some work experience, go get your white card and offer to labour on site or something and support a range of different trades, and just really make a decision that, yes, this is the trade I want to do because I've explored it, not, oh, this is the first job that got offered to me. Just make sure you're making an informed decision and don't just take things because it's the first thing that's happened for you, is kind of, I guess, my holistic. And set your boundaries as well. If you don't like being called love or hun or sweetheart or something like that, say it. Say, actually, I prefer if you call me Hace or Eight. Give them a nickname, give them an offering, and just set that boundary. Don't sit there being quiet going, oh, I hate it every time he says love. Oh, I hate it every time he says love. Just say, hey, is it all right if you call me Hace? Because that's what all my mates call me. Perfect.
Nice. Love that. What about you, Camila? What do you want to say to the women getting into a trade?
I want to say, and I always say this, go for it. It's scary, it's challenging, it's out of your comfort zone, but it's so worth it. It's so rewarding. This is coming from someone that left the family, the comfort zone. I don't speak the language. I don't have nothing here. Everything is, and I can do it because I was so committed to it. I really like it. I have so many challenges and I stick to it. And I try not to take things personal. All the bad experiences that I have were just lessons, but it was something in my heart that I was like, I really want to do it. So stick to it, try it, give it a go. The industry is amazing. What we were talking before is the networking is incredible. So for me now, I'm super happy with my company, with the caulking. That's great. But everything that this has brought to my life, the community, the people that I have met, all the tradie ladies, amazing girls that I have met, not just the tradie ladies, all the tradie guys, the communities. We do events, we do social things, we support different companies. It is absolutely incredible. So I will say, go for it. Welcome to the industry. If you ever need any kind of support, come to us. That's how I also started. And I get so many messages every single day in my Instagram from people that I don't know, they don't know me. And they is like, hey, Camila, I love what you're doing. I work in an office. I don't know if I should give it a go. And I have had this before. Like, this is a real life story. I had this girl, she texts me, it's like, oh, I've been in the office. I'm not really happy. I really feel like I want to be a carpenter, but I don't know. It's like such a big change in my life. And it was, very convenient that like 2 weeks after it was this Bowen event, Women in Trades, and I say to her, come to these events, meet all the tradie ladies, listen to the stories of the girls that have been in the industry. She's like, yeah, sure. I thought she was never going to show up. We were in this event, and then she's like, hi, Camila, I'm the girl that texts you. And I was like, oh my God, that's so good. Anyway, after that, she texts me 2 weeks later, and she's like, I quit my job. I was very inspired with everything that I listened. I'm just going to give it a try. She changed the industry. Now she's in the trades. And, like to feel that you can change your life. And she was not scared of reaching to us. And if we can support, if we can give you like a way to go, and especially with EWIT, that they have so many opportunities that they can try a trade for a day, all these bits and pieces. I have girls that come to me and it's like, can I come and spend a day with you? I'm like, absolutely. That's the benefits that I have in my own business, that I don't have to ask for permission, depending on the job that I have, because
Nice.
I cannot always bring people with me. But I'm like, yes, absolutely. If I have a residential job, a bathroom, a small job, I'm like, absolutely. Come to me, and then they can spend one day looking. They can just see how it is to be a tradie, how the tools work, how the materials, the steps that you do, and they look and they can actually say, oh, this is actually that I really like. And then slowly they can join the industry. And yes, why not? Absolutely.
So good. All right. Final point. So in order for us to get to 30% representation by women by 2030, what do guys need to know? Like, how do we need to change? What do we need to know to make sure that we're creating a safe place, we're feeling comfortable? I'd love to hear it from you, obviously speaking with a lot of women and companies and training them in how to prepare for this. What do we need? What can we share as some tips and insights into what we need to know?
So the first step is an internal step, guys. It's okay not to know. It's okay to be new in this space. So one, don't beat yourselves up, and kind of have that honesty of putting that down on the table and going, yeah, I don't know what to do in this space, and come with that vulnerability. And I know it's uncomfortable, but really come out with that vulnerability and have that co-creation mindset. I don't know what I don't know. I need help. I need support in here. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to step outside of my comfort zone. It's all mindset stuff, 90% of it. And then the small stuff is things like put sanitary items in your first aid bin. Get prepared to have that conversation around that time of month for women. And I know it can be a really awkward conversation for people, but it is reality, and it's something that women have. So again, having an understanding when it's that time of month for a woman, it's different for every woman, and it's different from month to month from certain women. Some women get headaches, they get vomiting, they get dizzy. So having that understanding and then building around that kind of stuff. So when it is that time, maybe not putting her up on a ladder if she does get dizzy and things like that. So it's getting to know people, as well as reach out to suppliers that supply female uniforms. If you're in things like safety harnesses or different things like that, find female fitting PPE gear as well, to be able to, one, keep her safe, and two, make her feel like she belongs and different things like that. And then on the social side of things, don't always just beers at the pub or different things like that. Ask and get curious and maybe say, well, can you organise a social event for the team or something like that, and empower her to show you guys something or experience something that you haven't done before, and get fun. Like, if she says, let's go to yoga, like there's this cool thing in Melbourne called puppy yoga. So you can go do yoga and there's little puppies everywhere and it's a really fun experience. And so exactly, open your mind up to experiencing things that you may not have experienced before, to kind of bring into the organizational culture diversity, which is experiencing something different. Same if the woman's from a different culture, ask her to book in a lunch from or bring something from her culture and explore and understand her cultures, which is the same with guys. So putting that all down to three things: have a really curious mindset, allow yourself to be vulnerable, and then just ask questions. Get out there, get curious, and co-design what that environment looks like for the right fit for your team, because it's not a one size fits all. And definitely chat to the guys around their experience, what they're feeling as well, because that's very, very important during this transition of increasing diversity.
Amazing. What about the guys on site? It's like that, like you said before, stop calling people love. If you what are some things, or maybe is that acceptable to some people? I don't know. Like, so
definitely the guys on site, I would say, as a rule of thumb, the love, the chick, the sweetheart, the babes and things like that, probably scale that language back a little bit. Or just say, do you have a nickname, or is there something exactly like, is there a nickname I can call you on site? Again, don't start arcing up. If there is a female toilet, or if there is some kind of benefit that's brought to site because you've got one female on site, don't go, oh, what do we get? She gets a change room, or she gets a toilet herself. What do we get? Don't create this divide of us and them as well. And if you see that she's sitting in the back of the lunchroom, no one's talking to her, go and interact with her. Bring her into your friendship group. Try and find some common ground. You both own dogs. You both go for Carlton. Like, there's going to be something. Try and connect with her, and just don't kind of leave her out there on the cold, and stand up. If you see someone treating her badly, or you see an issue happening, stand up, speak up. Be that hero, be that champion. And yeah, you might take shit from the other guys, but be the hero, push back, and really stand up and be that champion.
Yeah, I think what you just said just then, like, even with the way you behave when the woman's not around, you're teaching everyone else how to behave through the way you behave when they're not there. So we have to level up the way we are considerate, and speaking behind when they're not on site as well. So just think about that, everyone. And I think there's so many good things. Camila, you got anything to add?
No.
To the guys on site?
No, I think I hate to say everything too good, and especially when when you mentioned that the female is just sitting in the back by herself. I think that's a very funny thing, because a lot of people think that me being a female in the job site, I'm surrounded by guys and all the guys just talk to me all the time. I wish no one talks to me. I think that guys get so intimidated, or they just don't want to get in trouble, or I don't know what the hell is going on, but guys don't talk to me. And sometimes it's really frustrating, because I'm like, hey, just make me feel like I'm part of this. Like, I don't know if it's just that fear of, oh, maybe if I talk to her, she's going to misunderstand this and then I'm gonna get in trouble, so I'd rather not interact with females, which is something that I get it, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be like we are all the same, because I feel as well sometimes very, very long, especially before when I used to work in these commercial jobs that are 200 guys and me. So
it
yes,
can be so lonely.
Yes,
and same. Like, I often go on site and I walk past guys and I look at their boots.
Yep.
Like, you walk past them and they literally look at the ground, and you're like, oh, what? You feel like something's wrong with you, or you're like, what's happening? Like, so just have that eye contact, smile, nod, just interact with them. Don't There was one guy, and I do feel sorry for him. He must have felt really overwhelmed. We were on site with a bunch of women, and he was walking towards us, and he was on his phone. He looked up, he saw the bunch of women. He literally turned around and like ran the other direction. Like he walked so fast in the other direction, and all the women behind us was like, "What was that all about?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, he obviously just didn't know how to react. And then we were on another site, and these guys were like kept popping their head out to have a look at the group of women on site and things like that. So just
My God.
really, and the girls, I'm like, it's like penguins just walked on this site. They're just not used to it. So just be aware of your behavior.
Not used to it, yeah.
Yeah, just be aware of your behavior and try and make them feel welcome. Say hi, how's your day?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
you guys go to the pub and can interact with females. It's not very different on the site. So just treat them like a human. Say hi, how's your day? Can I help you? And all that kind of stuff, really.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, that really makes a difference because I know I have experienced that not being included in the chat. So when guys talk to me, I actually feel amazing. That really changed the environment of the job site. Don't be afraid. Be very respectful. But yes, at the end of the day, we are all the same. We are there doing the same thing. So, yeah.
Amazing. Oh, it's been a pleasure having you both on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. 30% representation by 2030. We're going to do it. 30-30. Looking forward to making that a reality. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.